My objective was just to help women. It was not to make a tremendous amount of sales. I want women to earn money commensurate with men. I want them to be paid on the basis of what they have between their ears and their brains, and not because they're male or female. But at the same time, I would like women to remain feminine, because I have found that it's an asset to be female in a man's world. If you would ask me what is it that women need across America, Australia, and Canada, I would have to say it's confidence. Here's a woman who's never had any praise at all for anything she's ever done. Maybe the only applause she ever had was when she graduated from high school. She wants recognition. So we praise her for everything good that she does. We praise our people to success. Well, I feel this way, that a little boy from childhood begins to think, one day I am going to be a big man like Daddy. If Daddy is a doctor, he's going to be a doctor, a fireman. Most little boys use their father as their mentor. However, as little girls, what do we see? We see Mama making cookies, and one grew up to be the best chocolate chip cookie maker in the world, you know. And really, we're told on a constant basis, you can't, oh honey, you're a little girl, you can't do that. And so when we grow up, and even in today's society, as, you know, I think it's changing, and I'm so glad that it is, but still, I find as women come into our company at, let's say 22, 23, or something like that, that many times they will say, I will ask the question, when are you going to be a director or something? And they'll say, well, I hope, if I can, maybe. And I think, good heavens, the man never says, if I can, or I hope. And so I say to them, look, come on now. You can do anything you want to do if you're willing to pay the price and you really want to do it badly enough. The strange part about it is that if I literally, shall we say, free women by saying to them, it's okay if your child has 103 degrees of fever this morning and you have a beauty show scheduled. We have a built-in support system where you would call your director and say, look, my child is ill. Could you send someone else on my show today? And they would, and you would receive a small percentage of that show that day and stay home with your child where you belong. And, you know, in some jobs, you don't show up, you get fired. Well, in our company, we built in a support system where you have something to rely on so that you can do what you should do. And if you should be going to a PTA meeting that day, if it's important to your child, then that's into our system. You go. Well, of course, I never dreamed of such a thing. However, I had a most unusual mother. Unusual in that I never remember my mother at home. Mm-hmm. She left at 5 o'clock in the morning, came home at 9 o'clock at night. So for many of my earlier years, I was asleep when she left and asleep when she came home. She couldn't be there to physically do anything for me, so I would call her and she would give me detailed instructions on everything I wanted to know, like, Mother, Daddy wants potato soup tonight. How do you do it? Remember, I'm age 7. How do you cook this? How do you cook that? And she would tell me. And then she would always add, and honey, you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can do it, darling. You can do it. So I think I grew up with you can do it as my theme from my childhood, and it spilled over into my later life. I decided to write my memoirs, hoping that perhaps I could help other women over some of the problems that I had encountered. So I began by writing down the good things the companies I had been with had done. And then it occurred to me that there were a lot of things I didn't think they did right. So I took another legal-size pad and began writing down the problems. And one day it occurred to me that if you're so brilliant, how would you have solved them? And then I began writing out, almost like working a crossword puzzle, how I would have handled a situation had I had the opportunity and the responsibility. And then in the final reading of these two legal-size pads, in real preparation for beginning this book, I thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if somebody did this?